Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
And happy Halloween, everybody. We are Grapsody, and we are here to talk graps. And I am Will Washington, a.k.a. Sting if he used dollar store makeup. And I am not alone here because I am also joined by Mr. Philip Lindsey.
Boom, 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 boom. Just want to say, first of all, tomorrow is Halloween, and last year on Halloween, we lost a legend in MF Doom. Want to celebrate that, man. The way he passed was really, really strange. We didn't find out until New Year's Eve day, but he did actually pass on Halloween 2020. And, man, I can't say enough about what Doom meant to me as an artist. Probably the best underground rapper of all time. Rest in peace.
All time. I love MF Doom, so I'm not going to, you know what? Rest in peace. Not even going to argue. No need to argue on a tribute. Also here, by the way, is Righteous Reg.
Double R, done with Cookie Cutter. Yo, check it out. I'm a luchador at the at his press conference. Like, yo, I'm about to be at Triple Mania on Thursday. I'll see y'all. Yo, and they, tomorrow is actually Doom Day now that they announced. So they're doing this crazy show out in San Francisco. There's going to have all these dope.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Beatmaker. It's going to be a crazy day tomorrow. So shout out to MF Doom. It's Righteous Reg. We out here. Tomorrow's Halloween. I don't know how these luchadors do this. I can't see anything. I can't hear. How do you call a spot? How do you like look around? How do you do flips? Like, what are you talking about, bro? It's crazy out here.
Yeah, I almost, because I've got a Rey Mysterio mask upstairs and that I actually bought in Mexico.
Yeah, I bought this one in Mexico too.
Yeah, nice. And I almost wore that, but then I'm like, nah. And so, yeah, I ran to Dollar Tree and grabbed some, it's not horrible. Could be worse.
Hey, Dollar Store Sting is out here.
Hey, man, gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep. Right. But hey, friends, it's Saturday. It is October 30th. This is Grapsody episode 5. We have officially, as of this episode, completed our first month of shows. We made it through the month of October.
Oh, let's go.
Hey.
Yeah, so that's cool. And I've just been overjoyed. It's definitely been different for me doing this show over the last month because I'm used to doing evening podcasts. Other than like that little 7-week run I did Wrestling with Weekends, but other than that, so it's been different. It's been fun, but I am still just elated over getting to do this every Saturday and having everybody join us and seeing everybody sending their super chats, such as Ryan, who said, "I don't know if I could take you guys seriously being on the payroll of WWE and AEW." That's right, I'm saying both. For real though, love this show. Thank you, Ryan.
You getting 2 paychecks, Ryan. Yeah. They don't know.
And DKC returns, says, "Got paid. Here's your cut." Thank you.
Bro, we appreciate you. Thank you guys for being here on a Saturday morning, man. I know if you're on the West Coast like me, it's early. So like, we appreciate y'all.
Yeah. And Terrence says, "Y'all killing the game as always. In your opinion, will it be disappointing if WWE doesn't sign Gresham, Lethal, and Adora? Also, who goes to WWE?" You know what? That's going to be a big topic for later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest topic of the show. So
we're going to talk about everything you just said, bro.
Everything you said there. That's probably what am I talking about? That's the biggest topic today.
Yeah.
And shout out to D-Lo Diggs. It says, "Sup, my brothers. Hope y'all are going to go to Pro Wrestling Revolver. Oh, okay, sorry. Revolver tonight. Also got Grapsody shirts ordered and on the way. Thank you. We always appreciate that.
Moxley's on that show with Jimmy Jacobs, so that should be a pretty big show tonight, I think.
And you know what? We actually talked about that before the show. I'm going to bring up Mike Scally's comment because he said, "So how long before that one guy on Twitter takes Will and Phillips costumes?" We talked about that.
Hey man, I did
before
laugh.
the show.
Toned down. I was like, "Yo, full white face, man."
Yep,
Yeah, I was
white
like,
face.
yo, double white face. I'm like,
Yep, double white face.
like,
Yep.
gee. That's what we doing out here. What y'all gonna do about it?
Yes. And says Timothy says my book on Black Freedom Movement got picked up by a publisher this week and want to pay
congrats.
it forward. Love you
That's
guys
awesome.
despite working for Fightful. Thank you, thank you. And look, honestly,
Timothy, man.
yeah, congratulations. That's
dope.
That's amazing.
that is really cool.
Yeah.
And also
Send me the link.
Yeah, send us the link. We want to see that. And then also, thank you, Kate. We got another one from KC4L Wrestling Takes. Says, sending some love to my three brothers on the grind, giving their takes in the IWC. Salute. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
Joe,
Thank you.
Rare Saturday off, so I'm pumped to be able to watch live. This show rules. Keep killing it. Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you, Joe.
And Jacob, thank y'all for awesome content every Saturday. Something I look forward to every weekend. Keep rocking, y'all. Honestly, we love you guys.
Yeah, you guys are dope.
Yeah, love you guys. If you want to be part of the show, get your stuff read. Definitely head on over and join us every Saturday. We're at youtube.com/Fightful. Give us your thumbs up. Give us your super chats. Join our discussions. Send us your questions over on our Twitter, which is Grapsody Pod. And definitely follow our Twitter if you're not yet. And that's Grapsody Pod. But there's wrestling to talk about. Lots of wrestling to talk about.
A lot.
One specific topic, though, that Phil wanted to bring to the table, and I am happy to have this discussion because it's my fave. It's the anniversary of the Nation of Domination.
We are the Nation of Domination. Oh my goodness. One of the greatest factions of all time. It should be titled Nation of Domination was a babyface faction because we know what they try to do to us.
So let me tell you, excuse me, I still have a bit of a cough from last week, so pardon me. It's clearing up. Or is it? I don't know. Let me tell you, though. So I was never like a big heel guy as a kid. Like I was one of the, like, did you see this? Mm-hmm. Part of this is because Sting was my favorite wrestler. I hated the NWO. I could not stand the NWO. They made me so mad every single week. And like, I was probably in the 3rd, 4th grade when the NWO started. And so like, Sting was my guy and all of that. I didn't get into heel factions until the Nation of Domination. That was the first, but none of the other kids liked the Nation. In the 6th grade, when, like, I'm talking latter end of the Nation, when they were feuding with DX and all the kids at school were in like DX gear and stuff, and like I was the only one in Nation gear. And I remember there was one kid, and go figure, he had, because I came across his Facebook not that long ago, and he's a total Trump supporter, so go figure. But he used to come across me in the, he and I used to like cross in the hallways at school, and he'd look at me and he'd go, "Suck it," and then I'd raise a fist, and that was like our thing. Like he was like straight up. It was DX versus Nation, and I was like all about the Nation pretty much from the time they launched.
And then one time you guys did that little exchange. He was like, "Make America Great Again," and you were like, "What?" And then he was like, "You'll know about this later."
By the way, shout out to Kimberly. Appreciation chat for the makeup and mask. Thank you guys for being awesome. Thank you, Kimberly.
Appreciate you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Kimberly.
But yeah, I was straight up Nation all the way. They were my favorite faction. Honestly, like, I love how much growth came out of that faction. And I think there's a part of me that, because I was a kid when it happened, there's a part of me that's like, every time there's like an Owen tribute or anything like that, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, Owen's my guy.
Right.
And it's like, Owen's just one of those guys. Sorry, there's my alarm. Owen, I don't know, but there's a part of me that as a kid viewed him as like, at least not black, but invited to the cookout, and I think it was fully based on the fact that he was a part of the Nation of Domination.
Right.
And also, pretty sure the answer is DX, but going back to 97, who did put all of that, the racial terms?
It was DX.
It was DX,
yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
The KFC on the wall and all that stuff.
Yeah. So
Man.
I'm just saying that's a lot of stuff that hasn't been forgiven in my heart. Although I was a DX fan too.
DX was wild, and I was number one DX fan, but they were just.
Yeah, to be honest, I guess I'm the oddball out here. I was never a DX fan. I always hated them. And it might have been from the Nation stuff because I was such a big Nation fan.
Yeah, it makes sense.
To be honest, growing up, I didn't know that they were supposed to be the bad guys. Like I knew that they were dudes.
Right.
But I was kind of like, no, they before it was a term. I was like, no, they spitting. Like I don't know about
no, for reals.
Like every time I think about the Nation, I of course think of when The Rock joined and like his first promo with them, and like his first promo with them is so great. But I think people always sleep on Farouk's promo before that.
Yeah,
Farouk does the send off to Ahmed Johnson. He's like, I knew all along Ahmed Johnson under his thick black skin was just a white man trying to get out. He goes, I don't care if they sandblasted your ass 20 times, you'll never be white, Ahmed. And then when he goes into the street fight, right? And he goes,
he was always cooking.
He goes, man, they challenged me to a street fight, but I am the street. Yo, Farouk was the man.
Yep. Definitely.
Honestly, now that you bring it up, because we're talking about the time period, I'm pretty sure it was the Nation that got me to switch back because, I was back and forth between WCW, WWF. I started off a WCW fan like as a little kid because it was on Saturdays at 6:05 Eastern. And that was like just the easiest time for me to watch pro wrestling because as a kid, I know that I don't have to stay up late. Like Saturday afternoons were easy for me. But then I got into WWF a little bit, but then it was really like the Nitro era that got me into WCW, but I'm pretty sure it was the Nation that pulled me back because I wasn't into Shawn Michaels. Like there was a lot of things that I just wasn't into, but the Nation as a faction was what did it for me. And one more really quick shout out to my boy Mac in the chat. He said wanted to share some of my bouncer tip. Mac, of course, is a bouncer in Brooklyn.
Damn, choke slamming fools.
So I want to share some of my bouncer tip money with y'all. Just got my Grapsody hoodie yesterday, and we'll rock it to work tonight.
Definitely choke slam somebody in a Grapsody hoodie.
Keep up the great, keep it up, great brothers. So yeah, thank you, Mac. I've always appreciated Mac going back to the RBR days. Love it.
Yeah, man. The Nation, I didn't really get into them until the second Nation. So they came in, they had like PG-13 rapping, they had Crush, they had Savio Vega. It was the beginning stages were okay, so I wasn't really into it, but it was when they took D-Lo and they had Mark Henry and eventually The Rock and the Godfather.
That was the version.
That's when it was lit. They became just like a force, and WWF never really gave them their due, man. Until
absolutely not.
Right? They just used it as a launching pad for The Rock eventually, which was kind of frustrating. And I guess when I was younger, I didn't really know the magnitude of Ron Simmons because I was a WWF dude. I didn't really watch a lot of WCW, so I didn't know that this guy was a Black World Champion. This guy is a football star. I mean, even though JR was staying, and I would just kind of be like, all right, JR, here we go again with the football talk. But this guy was to know that this dude was the one saying these promos and saying this stuff puts even more on top of why the Nation was so dope because Ron Simmons was the head just spitting because he had been through all this stuff he was talking about,
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at the time either. That's a great point because I started watching it after they were already together. Matter of fact, when I started watching, they were already the Nation past the first iteration with Crush and Savio.
Same.
And so when I go back and look at the other visuals of it with Farouk in the leather jacket and all the guys behind him and the bow ties and you got D-Lo bow tied up with the kente scarf and I that's a dope visual too. Can we talk about how D-Lo killed that look for the original? He killed that look with the kufi.
And speaking of which, Terrence with the super chat says D'Lo and Farouk were so underrated as a stable. WWE DNA kicked in, of course, and they had to have dissent in the group, and they couldn't coexist. I mean, I think maybe
Can't be friends.
I don't know if I said it here. No, I think I said it in one of our. I think it was just like Phil was hosting a late night. What the hell is it called? Spaces. Well, I don't know. I was drawing a blank on Twitter Spaces, but he was hosting late night Spaces. And I talked about how WWE really has never had the patience for factions.
Right.
I mean, the fact that the New Day has lasted as long as they have is not just a testament to WWE having the patience for a black stable, but having the patience for a stable in general. Like Evolution is considered like their greatest like faction run like ever, but like Evolution was less than 2 years.
Right.
And like they kicked Randy Orton out a year and a half into Evolution's entire run. Like they don't have the patience for factions at all.
They do not.
Yeah,
and
Nation
so
was barely 2 years, right?
yeah,
Right.
like the descent with The Rock, all that stuff was like 3 months into the group.
Right.
3
Yeah,
months into him
exactly.
being into the group. But they've never had the patience. Mike Harmeyer says, "I'm scared."
You should be, Mike.
We got Vape Ross Vape became a YouTube member, so appreciate that. And Rob says, "Yo, I'm going to see the Bounty Hunter, Brian Keith tonight after our
the
podcast
man.
together.
Still
I want
tripping.
to, I want to see if he's gonna put the flatliner in his moveset.
He
And
might. He's been having a crazy run this last couple 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Shout
And
out
we
to
got-
Brian Keith. That's my homie.
we got a few more. Zeke Jackson says, "Oh, you boys came to pod today, and damn Reg colder than Reggie Miller when he tweets someone on Twitter, bang bang like Cactus Jack." And
Shots. Everybody, come with it. What you
Everybody
want?
can get it.
Anybody can get it.
And of course, we got the homie Kate says, "I need Reg versus Jericho just to hear Jericho call him El Pumpkin, idiot Shador."
That one where he's announcing all the luchadors coming out. That's one of the greatest clips of all time.
But yeah, as far as the nation was concerned, I don't know. There's so much that, because like the two iterations of the nation that people like are most prominent, because I would consider them to be three real nation iterations. There's the original with Savio Vega and Crush, and then we had second version that was more so led by Farouk, and we had Kama, and we had they of course let in Ahmed Johnson and kicked him out, and of course there was D'Lo, and then Mark Henry joined, and then really the third iteration is really when The Rock comes in, and then really I guess there was four, because after that you kicked out Farouk, and then you had The Rock leading the Godfather, Kama Mustafa, and D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry, and then
even when The Rock left, Kama, D'Lo, and Mark Henry did a thing for a little bit too. So it's like,
Yeah,
they was
then it
out
became
here,
a tag
you know?
team.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, and honestly, like The Rock's version of the nation as the leader, I always still give props to, for a number of reasons. One, I feel like that was kind of the version where they all kind of started to get individual identities, where Rocky Maivia became The Rock, and he was talking his shit. That was where Smell What The Rock Is Cooking came from. And then of course D'Lo, and I love D'Lo's story.
boy.
I could never tell D'Lo's story as good as he can, but it always cracks me up. Like, have y'all heard the origin of the headcock story, where that came from? Oh, it's one of my favorite stories. And D'Lo told it at WrestleCon a couple of years ago. But and I was just on the floor laughing. But it was the night before show. The nation, of course, they all traveled together, and so they all had a hotel together, and they were all sitting around, and they were watching Friday. And it was right around the time when Debo gets knocked out, or maybe it was when Red gets knocked out. Doesn't matter. It's the scene in the movie. And of course, Smokey runs over and goes, "You got knocked the fuck out." And Rock says to D'Lo, "I dare you to do that on screen tomorrow, at Raw tomorrow, right?" And so,
Wow.
yeah,
This
and so
is Black History right here,
right.
man.
So the next night
my
on Raw,
God.
D'Lo, of course, I think Ken Shamrock gets knocked down, and D'Lo goes over Ken Shamrock and goes, "You got knocked the fuck out." And and he said, so after it was all over, they all head to the back, and Vince, of course, is standing in gorilla, and as everybody passes, he gives everybody a nod. Rock, good job, and Mark, good job, and then he's like, D'Lo, come here. And D'Lo's like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. He's like, he thought he was gonna be in trouble for using the word fuck on TV, right? And he's like, Vince is gonna talk to me. He's like, I'm fucked. And so he gets over, and Vince goes, that thing you did with your head out there, that was brilliant. I want you to do that every week. And because he's like, Vince had never seen Friday, right? So like, Vince didn't know what that was from. He just thought that D'Lo was just like, he just thought he did a cool thing with his head. And so he's like, I want you doing that every week. And every time you walk, I want you just shaking your head. And so,
just like Smokey.
And he said,
I actually have seen Friday, motherfucker.
Every week, he said, every week, Vince would tell him, do it up more, play it up more. And sure enough, it became his thing. But it was all from one night. The three of them just sitting around or the four of them watching Friday, and on a dare.
That was a great story. So I could just picture Vince in the back watching him do it and going, look at him.
Yeah. Damn, that's Black history right there.
Look at him. Yeah.
Amazing story absolutely. For sure. Wow.
So that's like my favorite story I've ever heard D'Lo tell.
Yeah, D'Lo was the man as well. D'Lo was one of those guys. I remember going to school all the time, and we used to always mimic his strut and like mimic like his finger moves, like me and my friends used to do that in the hallway all the time, just because D'Lo was the man. Like he was probably one of the coolest guys in the group. Like probably still one of the best frog splashes of all time, man. Like he just was the man. First, by the way, first Eurocontinental champion.
Yeah, I love D'Lo, man. He had like one of my favorite move sets. I was a backyard wrestler at the time, so like all of D'Lo's moves were like stuff you wanted to do, the sky high, the low down. Like his frog splash is still one of the best frog splash of all time. You know what I mean? It's still mimicked by half of the industry now are doing his style of frog splash. So like, yeah, D'Lo was the man. He, I love when he eventually branched off too and, got his Eurocontinental run. He had some crazy matches with X-Pac and Val Venus. He was just doing
Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, just like on a random Raw, you catch a D'Lo banger. D'Lo is one of the best of all time for sure. We need to get D'Lo on Grapsody one day. What's up, D'Lo? Come talk about Impact.
Got the chest protector before, Romy Rome, and he made it cool.
Yeah.
Shaddy, by the way, shout out URL setting. Top Dollar versus Caster. 3 rounds, 2 wins.
Stop playing. That's easy.
You know what? Because there's a lot of knocks on Max Caster, and I will say this: Max Caster has like really simple rhymes. Like he does the nursery rhymes for the crowds. His like actual stuff isn't that bad.
He can rap.
Yeah, he can rap, but it's one of those like, okay, he's doing the like John Cena slow it down for the audience, which like the audience bites on that stuff. Like the fact that he'll say his little slow ass rhyme and then the crowd goes, oh,
I think Top Dollar will get him though. I think if they win 3 rounds, I think Top
Dollar. Here's the thing. Top Dollar will get him. No question. But I do think Max Caster isn't as bad on his actual music. As a matter of fact, because I used to like honestly, that's the stuff that got him signed. I like props on that. He because the first time he worked AEW, he was brought in just as a dark opponent for Shawn Spears, and he dropped that first rap on Shawn Spears, the "I'm not perfect and neither are you," and that got buzz. And then every time he started coming in, he started doing a new like original Twitter rap for each of his opponents. Even though all of these had already been pre-taped, he knew he had lost these already. But it was one of those like build up hype for his own matches, and it ended up getting him signed. And so like that was that's one of those. He is to me a very like kind of almost self-made organic act that used his social media to get himself buzzed, to get himself noticed. And I'll always give that credit. We just talked about Xavier Woods last week, using his platform to further his wrestling career and build and get where he's going. And like, that was a time where like somebody like a Zack Ryder did that and got punished for it. And so, it's always cool when that succeeds, and I like
Right.
seeing that. And got another one from Jester Designs. Happy Saturday, boys. That Hit Row and New Day segment was everything. That's gonna be
That slow
exciting.
pan to
Yeah.
hit row. Oh
Uh-huh.
man, beautiful. We loved
That's gonna be something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so
Look, Max Caster knows his audience. If he went
Mm-hmm.
out there spitting like
Yep.
faster than that, they'd be like, "What is this guy talking about?" You got to
Yeah,
slow
and-
it down because this is how this big audience is going to receive it. If you give it to them slowly, got to feed it to them like an airplane, like you're feeding your kid. Like here
Now,
it is. Here
it
it comes.
was
Slow it
just
down.
mentioned-
I just dissed you.
Yeah,
it was just mentioned in the chat.
exactly.
It was just mentioned in the chat that he does the TMZ sports thing, which he also does, and like those are always like actually more well thought out raps than.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm curious what the future holds for that, and if he gets replaced by like Top Dollar, because TMZ was owned by Warner Media, which is what brought on that relationship with Max Caster. However, they were just recently sold to Fox. And Fox now owning TMZ, I would be curious to see how much longer the TMZ AEW relationship lasts before all of that stuff ends up getting replaced. I very much could see them giving that spot to Top Dollar.
Definitely.
And we
Vince
of course,
apparently really likes Top Dollar. I mean, he was on that AEW show. Like he's on his way. It sounds like.
yeah.
Yeah.
And shout out to Drew. It says, happy Saturday to the coolest AEW shows in the game.
AEW.
Although, I will say...
Uh-oh. Cut the checks.
Mm-hmm.
See, he was about to say something
Yeah,
crazy.
he was
So
about to say
TK, cut the mic.
hold
Cut the
on a
mic.
minute. Don't say that. Don't say that. Son. Look, if TK was sending us check, I would show my check right here on Grapsody every week that says AEW pays me. And we probably wouldn't be doing the show because we'd be working for AEW. What kind of dumb idiots are you? Look, check it out. They're not paying us. We're just three regular fools getting paid by some fool that y'all hate for some reason. I don't know. We don't got nothing to do with y'all Sean Ross Sapp beef. I just want to say that out loud.
Hey.
And that's all I'm going to say with it.
SRS.
Sean Ross Sapp don't have nothing to do with our beef. He's just the platform he's just up there. I don't know why y'all beefing with him because y'all don't like how he gives out his news. We are Grapsody. We are over here doing our own thing. That's
And
it. I'm done
We
with that.
got no beef with nobody
Yep.
that SRS got beef with.
No, we do not. No.
I accidentally stepped on my cable, by the way, because I was going to give a shout out to my dude, Baron Black.
Oh, yeah. Shout out
Hey.
Baron Black, the Emperor.
The Emperor. Yeah.
Hey,
So
that video he did with Wrestling Flow, dope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was fire. Everybody needs to see that.
yeah. So that's my thing, by the way. And any wrestlers out there, show me your merch. Or at least drop your links. Drop your PWT's links. My thing is, any wrestlers I support, I always feel like the easiest way to support any pro wrestler, buy their merch. And my wife hates it because I have like I have 2 drawers now dedicated to wrestler t-shirts.
They're all black.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is she's just there's a few that aren't, but she's just like, you just own like black T-shirts with pro wrestlers' pictures or names on them or their slogans or whatever it is. She's like, can you like do something with these? Like, there was because we were doing some reorganization, and she's like, so which ones do you want to get rid of? And I was like, none. And she's like, you got to get rid of something. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna get rid of it. Like I've got. I pretty much own every Swerve shirt going back to like his Shane Strickland shirts, and she's like, "You can get rid of at least one." I'm like, "No, these are like symbolic."
They are.
So they represent his rise, and I've got the current Hit Row shirt. So
It's sold out.
yep, it's sold out. And D'Lo Diggs, can we appreciate Xavier Woods and Kofi's new gear?
Oh, they were drifting last night.
So-
Yeah, real drip.
So was I the only one that was wondering, is it inspired by Fire Emblem? Because it looks like it.
I mean, it's Woods. I could imagine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But hey, we got other stories to talk about.
Yep. Shout out to the nation, though. NOD
Shout out to the nation, honestly.
Forever.
Nation.
Nation of domination.
Yeah, they're like all time great. But I will also say, on the topic of the nation, it is also something that can't be duplicated. Like
Right.
every
We don't need
time,
to see it again.
every time black people get together, somebody's like, "Yeah, New Nation." Nope,
No.
nope,
Nope.
No,
Nope. Shane Taylor from Nope. Different.
no,
No.
it's different.
Different.
Yeah,
Hurt Business, very different. Have
Very
you seen?
different.
They're like apples and
They're
oranges. Man.
businessmen.
Come on.
yeah.
Come on. What are you talking about?
But
Nation was talking about eating collard greens with their hands, bro. Like, come on. It was
And,
real
like,
streets.
and like first iteration of the New Day, I will say this. There's a lot of things people forget about the original iteration of the New Day, and there was some stuff that I was hoping would be expanded upon, but I'm happy with what the New Day turned out to be. But there was one episode of Main Event where it was the original New Day. And I'll talk about original New Day. Remember where Xavier Woods came out and he talked to Kofi and Big E about being held back, and like it definitely felt like they were going to be like a really, really like militant pro-black faction. There's one episode of Main Event where it was Big E and Kofi versus Titus O'Neil and Heath Slater. And after the match was over, they go to jump their opponents, and Xavier stops them and goes, "No, we don't attack Titus. You attack, you attack Heath Slater," and they wouldn't beat up Titus, and they turned around and beat the shit out of Heath Slater. And I was like, "Ooh, that's good. That's good shit." And like, honestly, if they had run with that, I wouldn't have minded. If they like literally would never perpetrate anything against any other black opponents, like, we'll beat you, but as far as we're concerned, we don't heal other black people. I like that a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean a lot.
A lot of it. Bring it back.
That was good. I thought they could have gone some places with that. So that I was one of the people like very disappointed in the original iteration of the New Day, or like when they officially got the name the New Day, and then they were just coming out smiling and clapping, and I was like, but y'all had something before,
Right.
and then they turned heel, and then everything worked and everything clicked.
Luckily it all worked out. So.
Yeah, it all worked, and I became a big fan. But I will
I
say
think that's
that
a great transition, right?
yeah, well, maybe. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was a couple of things coming out of Dynamite. Because we got some cool shit on Dynamite this week, and we got some controversial shit. First thing I want to talk about. Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida. I want to see this go on forever. I especially like because AEW has started numbering their rematches, and that's a cool concept because like fight sports do that. That's fun. They did it this week with Matt Sydal and Dante Martin. I actually like the concept of numbering rematches. So that said, if we get to Big Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb 6, I am down for that.
Right.
Because I could see these two do this forever. Like I've mentioned before, Hikaru Shida is my favorite women's wrestler in the business today. I have said before that I feel like everybody has their best matches with Hikaru Shida, and she deserves a lot more props for that very thing.
Definitely.
Especially because the conversation is always about her opponent. When somebody is always like, "Wow, that person could really go." I love seeing Ty Conti go. I love seeing Penelope Ford go. Love seeing all that, and it's like, but you know who these matches are all with that you're loving? It's Hikaru Shida,
Right?
And there's a reason. But anyway, when you take Hikaru Shida, and then you take somebody like Serena Deeb, who arguably people can say the same thing about, that, she has had some phenomenal matches with so many people. You put somebody in the ring with Serena Deeb, and it's likely their best match. And then you put Hikaru Shida with Serena Deeb together, and it's probably both their best matches. Right. And I like the first match a lot, but I like the story of the last match. And it goes kind of hand in hand with what Shida's been saying about how she did an interview recently where she said she's really been taking time off of TV to with certain things she wanted to work on. She mentioned that she wanted to work on her acting skills and work on her acting abilities and things like that. She said she's been taking classes for all of that. And for the people wondering why she hasn't been on Dynamite as of late and has just been working Dark and Elevation, that actually has a lot to do with it. She she said herself that there was a lot she wanted to bring to the table that she felt she wasn't bringing to the table in her first run. And now she feels like she's got a lot more to bring. But talking about acting ability, one of the things I liked about that first Deeb and Shida match was the telegraphing of how it was going to go without telegraphing it, where they did that video promo, and Deeb had talked about, like, they were showing almost the contrast. They're showing the two, Shida's just like, I just want to have a great match, and I want to beat. She was like, not even beat. She thought it was a given. She's like, I just want to have a great match with a great wrestler like Serena Deeb. And Serena's like, I'm gonna fuck you up. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Right.
you're stepping in the ring with me. What is this? And Shida comes out smiling, looks at her trophy, and she's, she was acting like it was a given. And so then the way she lost, it was like, oh damn, you guys like telegraphed that, and I was totally not picking up on it.
Right.
And this time around, Shida comes out with like some straight fire in this match. Like from the moment her entrance hit, and she just looked like raring to go. And like as soon as the bell rang, she's just on it. I was so down for all of that. Like I just felt like the fire she came with from the moment the match started. I thought this was one of the best women's matches Dynamite's had, and one of my favorite matches this year. And I would love to see this take place with no commercial breaks, on some type of bigger stage, pay-per-view, wherever you guys want to do it. I want to see this match. D'Lo Diggs said, give me Deeb versus Shida 1 hour on Rampage. Honestly, I just want to see these two go. And I was happy with the match. And I thought the finishing sequence was so clever, was so creative, was so well done, in the way that Shida had reversed the pin into her own pin and got the 3. And so, like, it wasn't a definitive finish. We still haven't seen Shida beat her with, a katana or the tamashi. So there's so many places this can go. I love it. I'm having fun.
Man, listen, they smoked this. This match was incredible. And I mean, I knew their matches were going to be good when they announced the first one. And I think it's a testament to the fact that Shida has not been on TV. Like now when she comes on and her theme starts with that great drum solo that it starts with, I get hyped every time. I'm like, yo, she's going to kill this. She comes out and yells right into the camera. I just love Shida, man. And I'm with Will 100%. I think she's incredibly underrated. I still think she's been the best AEW Women's Champion so far. I don't care if you like Britt Baker. Fight me. She has been the best champion so far. And I firmly believe she will be the first 2-time AEW Women's Champion.
I do. Especially now, like when you think about what she said about what she felt like she didn't bring to the table before, which, like, honestly, I'm with Reg on, like, I don't care about that shit. Just come out and wrestle and have good matches.
Right.
But honestly, if she feels like she needed to bring more of that to the table, I would love to see her do it again. Have another run with what she now feels she can bring.
Yeah, and man, there were so many things that she brought to that first match and this match. You can tell that she came to this match, the first match, like you said, very overconfident, and she lost. And then she came into this match like, no, I'm not playing with you this time. And she came vicious in kind of way we've seen her come in as champion, and I just loved to see that. I mean, man, there were some spots in this match that were just so clever. When she tried to hit her with the tamashi, and Shida reversed it into that ankle lock, and then start ramming her knee on the mat. Just, man.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I don't want to take anything away from Serena Deeb, because I feel like Serena is such a cerebral worker, and she does work so smart, and she's just so good at what she does, and the knee targeting is really like cementing her heel turn, because, like, honestly, people forget that the heel turn kind of kicked off at, like, way back at Double or Nothing, when she did the knee smash with Riho's knee, and then came out and was kind of like mocking the fans, and then she did the same thing to Red Velvet, and then she was like off TV for a little bit, so like it took a minute
she got injured, right?
And then she got hurt as she was off TV. And so coming back and doing this with Shida is working. Like, people are buying into the heel run. It's great. Honestly,
it's a testament for Serena because she's a veteran. Most of the women you see in AEW are pretty new to the business. They're like 3, 4, some even less than that. So you see Serena out there, you could see that she's a veteran. She knows just the story you guys are telling right now on how they built this match. Like Serena has a big part of it. She knows that, like, look, we could tell a story between a bunch of matches instead of just telling one story. And that's what's making this series of matches so great. And they crazy. They built a rivalry off nothing almost,
You know what's crazy to me, though, is that, she is a veteran, but people forget how young she was when she debuted. Because she's the same age as Charlotte Flair. This isn't somebody who, like, is like significantly older. Like, she and Charlotte are both 35. It's just that Serena debuted when she was 22. So, like, it's one of those things where people always talk about how women's just in general, wrestling in general, you typically don't hit your stride until you're in your 30s. And Mickie James has talked about the fact that there's a double standard for men and women, right? Because she's like, with women, we're so quick to want to kind of to dub them older as soon as they hit their 30s, and whereas, like, we'll have a conversation about Bryan Danielson, who's 40, and we're just talking about him being on his crazy run and just doing it good. But at the same time, they were having conversations about Mickie James being on the older side when she was like 33. Yeah. And so, there's definitely a huge double standard there. That like
they were happy to say that Bobby Fish was 45 on the broadcast. You know what I mean? And it's like, usually they don't say, like, you know what I mean? For women, they would never be like, oh, this woman is 45. You know what I mean? So it is definitely a double standard when it comes to the both of them.
Man, speaking of Bobby Fish, friend of the show, Andrew Thompson, said this on Twitter, and I absolutely want to see it happen. He was saying that he wants to see Shelton get a run kind of like Bobby Fish is having right now, where he can go to other companies and, kind of get this last run and show people that he's still a great in-ring worker. Because I think he is extremely underrated as an in-ring worker.
He is.
And I just would love to see him mix it up with other people from other companies.
Right. Yeah, that would definitely be amazing.
And shout out to Terrence with the super chat. He said Deeb versus Shida and Baker versus Rosa. Those are your two co-main events for an all-women's pay-per-view for AEW. You could.
I'd be here for it.
I'd be here for it. And then going back to the top of the show, Vincent with the super chat said, most underrated MF Doom track that no one talks about. My pick is Mike Line off the Monster Album Stars album.
I love Mike Line, man. That is a great record. There's so many dope Doom records. Don't get me started. There's so many great ones. I mean,
I am part. So Meat Grinder was the first track I was introduced to, and so I'm like, that's like the MF Doom track to me because of the fact that it was the first one I was introduced to, and was like, it's so every time I hear it, it's like quintessential to me. But then also, I look back at the Danger Doom album and like. Space Hose is like my favorite beat of all time. You put any
mincemeat though. Mincemeat is crazy.
Oh, mincemeat.
I mean, honestly, it's my favorite beat, and so like when I hear Doom rap over that, like when I used to put together my my demo reels, like fresh out of college, I used to the opening was because I always start with the opening montage. It was set to the beat to Space Hose, and so I don't know. I love MF Doom, and I'm gonna miss him. And it was sad to. You're right though. It was really sad to find out about it the way we found out, where it was almost like
hip hop legends, man. It's so sad. Shout out to Zombie. Shout out to Gift the Gab. I just want to shout out some Bay Area legends. Shock G. It's been crazy for hip hop legends, man. I can't even.
No, honestly, like I would not have pictured. If you had told me that a lot of my favorites weren't going to live out of their 50s, man, this has been a crazy year for that. Right. Now, so here's the thing. Yeah, so of course, Reg is from the Bay Area, so I obviously don't have as much experience with the Bay Area as he does. But I will say that it was kind of like a weird hipster thing for me through high school because I was so into Bay Area music, and like everybody else was so into like more mainstream music. And when you're not from the Bay Area, it did very much for me just feel like a I'm into this thing that you don't know about. And because like honestly, I cried real tears when Mac Dre died. Like,
Right.
because Mac Dre was my favorite. Are you kidding me?
Mac Dre is Bay Area, man.
Like,
oh my God.
but-
People will fight. People will murder over Mac Dre. It's
Like,
like
Mac Dre
I'm
was-
sure. In Oakland, yeah, nah.
Yeah, they don't play.
Like, Mac Dre was not one of those names that, because I know a lot of people who only know of Mac Dre simply because of like lines dropped by Drake. But like, no, Mac Dre was one of those guys that like I was listening to Stupid Doo Doo Dumb in middle school, and I remember on the back when I used to work on a independent radio station called XND Radio, which doesn't exist anymore. But we used to play indie artists, and I used to make sure that I got Mac Dre in rotation like as often as possible. Because I was all about STUPID. When we go to the club, we don't need ID.
Yeah.
Like that was,
Hey.
he was my favorite.
I
though.
still hear that if I go outside, somebody's playing that song right now outside. It doesn't matter. You could go to a brunch. You could go to a farmer's market. That song, you're going to hear that song. You're at Safeway just like, yo, are they playing Mac Dre inside here? That's how they do not play about the
That's
Mac
great.
Dre.
Man.
And
man.
E40 and Too Short. Just don't say anything bad about any of those guys if you want to. If you come to the Bay, just like be nice about it because
I was all about it.
they don't care about.
I was all about E40, just that whole scene, but even just like because I used to get those the Frisco Street Show mixtapes, and I used to pick those up, and like that was me in high school. I was like all about that entire area and Bay Area music, and then when hyphy like really took off, man, it was great.
Come on,
It was a good
man,
time.
shake them dreads. Shake them dreads.
I like had to get dreads when I moved here. I'm like, yo, I don't have a choice.
Man,
my
I
hair
remember-
was like, you have to.
I remember when I first got some hang times in White Locks, and I was in a bar, and like Tell Me Where to Go came on, and I was like, do I shake my dreads? I was looking
You can
around.
now.
This song is for you, Phil.
Yes.
It's for you. Shake them dreads.
That's right. Jesus Christ had dreads, so shake them. But yeah, nah, the Shock G was like a really sad loss because like,
Man, damn.
Yeah, that
Damn,
was
damn.
Man, I'm telling you, I think Doom was such a hard loss for me because I discovered him like at a time when I was like listening to music hard, like right in college.
Yeah.
And I mean, I listened to Doom every day. It was to a
Right.
point where people would come to my apartment and I would just play Doom, and it would
Right.
be people like, I don't know who this guy is. I'm like, yo,
Mhm.
listen to Operation Doomsday. I would try and like pawn off
Yeah.
every album I could on him.
Mhm.
And so when I found out he died that way, I was just kind of like, this is not real, man. Like, this
Right.
is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Mhm.
And man, I just one of my favorite artists of all time. Not just because I liked his music, just because of what he represented.
Everything.
Just because he stayed independent. Just because so many things, like the stuff he dealt with leaving the country.
Right.
He just was a special artist, man.
How he would send fake MF Dooms to these shows. Like, he's legendary, man.
Man, and when you looked at how other people revered him too, like those videos of Mos Def, like
Right.
rapping his lyrics and just
Yeah.
geeking out over the guy.
He's one of the most loved hip hop artists of all time. Like,
Man.
every rapper's like, oh, I love MF Doom. I copied him. Like, hella
Yeah.
rappers say that.
Yeah, watching that clip of when I Future met him and how they were just so geeked out because he knew who they were.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he just was different, man. He was different.
Yep. R.I.P. to
and
Doom, man.
Vincent asks, what was your favorites? What was your rap favorites from 2006 to 2011? Ooh, interesting. Me and Emilio talk all the time about how it felt so wide open again, thanks to the blog and
Blog
burgeoning
era.
social media
That's
culture.
I like West Coast again. Pac Div, they were messing it up.
Yeah.
Cool Kids. Oh, come on. man.
Oh, yo, that
Cool
first
Kids
Cool
are
Kids
killing
album.
it. Yeah, come on.
That first Cool
man.
Kids album was
Those
crazy.
beats, that production on there was just
Yo,
like that was
yeah.
that time, bro. You was trying to get you
Man.
some Chuck English beats for sure.
The first time I heard Black Max, that was
Right.
crazy.
That was game changing.
So I have to give, I guess to piggyback off of Phil last week, my favorite 2006 to 2011 Yeah, it has to be.
OUP.
So I was gonna joke and say Flow Rider just to mess with Reg, but you're right. It is.
I was about to leave out of here. Flow
But no,
Rider.
so
Jesus.
it is Lupe Fiasco. And you know, because he said 2006, so like right off the bat, Food and Liquor
Same.
came out 06.
Right.
And you know what's great? Here's
Luke.
a fun story. So remember, I think about 3 episodes ago, I told the story of how my daughter, one of her cool things is that she loves to like appeal to other people's senses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for 3 nights in a row, she's just been sitting up listening to the first Food and Liquor. And like I walk in to tuck her in, and she's just listening to it, but like on her own, without like. And the first night I walked in, I was like, "What are you listen?" I was like, "Why are you listening to this? Did you just like hit play on like one of my random playlists or something?" She's like, "No, I heard you talk about that this was one of your favorite albums. And I just wanted to hear it." And I was like, "Cool."
That is
I
cool.
I was like, "Enjoy." And so I
Great
walk
album
off,
to listen to too.
and then the next day she's like walking around going, "Kick, push, and coast." And she's like, "I just love that song." And
That's so cool. Yeah, definitely.
Man.
And
That's
then
how I
she's-
felt when I heard it too.
And so I walked in the next day, and of course she's like listening to Sunshine, and I'm like, "You actually like this, don't you?" And she was like, "Yeah." She's like, "It's really good." And
Man.
I said, "Give it time." I said, She's like, "What are the other albums?" I was like, "Oh, don't you worry."
Yeah.
I said, "Feel free to throw on The Cool next, and then you can listen to Lasers." I have a feeling, being younger, that might appeal to you more.
Right,
And said, "You'll have fun."
Let's listen to Tetsuo, man. I big fan of the Fahrenheit First and 15th albums. I'm an enormous Lupe fan, so
Right.
man, I've listened
Murals.
to everything he's
When she
dropped.
listens to Murals and she's like, "What is this? What is this guy doing here? How do you do this?"
Well, you know, I
I'm
was
a
like,
rapper, and
you know,
when I heard that, I'm like, "Yo, how do you, Lupe? You have to like leave some raps for the rest of us, please. Thank you."
So I was standing outside her door, right, and I'm like kind of just like peeking my head in because I'm like, I wonder what American terrorist is going to change her perception, how that's going to like alter her perception on things.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, she's still a tween.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I was listening to hip hop long before
Way
this,
worse
so like
than Lupe at that time.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Way
so,
worse. Oh
my
so I'm
gosh.
like, whatever. Well, okay, back to
Way
Dynamite though, because this is ultimately a pro wrestling show.
Yeah.
So the other thing,
We love hip hop, so
Yes,
we will
we do.
always get off.
And
on
by the way, of
tangents.
course, my answer is the same as Will's. It's Lupe.
Lupe. Yeah, Lupe's the guy from that time, man. Come on, that's it.
So the other thing to talk about, because there's definitely mixed opinions on the main event, which saw the Elite take on the Dark Order.
There's
Now-
there's mixed opinions on what? I must have just like ignored this part of the internet. Seriously, I didn't see it. Like, what happened?
Okay, so a lot of people mad about the Halloween stuff. A lot of people.
God.
Yeah, I know. Right.
Come on,
So
it's Halloween. We have masks on. Come on, dude. It's content.
So here's the thing. As Fightful Select reported, and FightfulSelect.com, drop your $5. You'll get some good news. It was reported, of course, that 3 hours before this week's episode of Dynamite, the Elite had their Halloween costumes nixed because they were originally going to do Squid Game, and TNT put a stop to that. So shout out to my dude Mikey Ruckus who posted about this.
Ruckus.
But Ruckus
my goodness.
on 3 hours notice, he got a text. Hey, we need a and he dropped a sample of. He did drop a little sample of what the Squid Game thing was going to be, but he was like, but they told him on 3 hours notice, hey, can you whip up a Ghostbusters theme? And he said he didn't even send that over until like 2 minutes into the show having already started. They didn't even get that until the show had started already. So like,
that's a tough job, man.
props to them for putting that
tough-
together.
And he says this often too. He's always like, "Yo, they gave me 2 hours." They're like, "Yo, their entrance is in 2 hours. We need it." And he's like, "I do it, dude."
Yeah.
He is a legend, man. Already,
Yeah, no, and
legendary.
And it's just getting better. Like I have questions about all of this that that need to be answered because like, what was the Stay Puft reveal going to be without the Ghostbusters theme.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm curious, like because that reveal went off so well with that crowd. It got such a pop when it's one of those like tragic irony things where you start to realize like, wait a minute, that there's no way that's Hangman under that horse head. That's and like when you start to realize it and in the moment, the big reveal that it was Brandon Cutler, and then you're like, uh-oh, that means that's not Brandon Cutler with them, and he was with them the whole time. Jeez. Like, that whole reveal, it was fun. And I know that's a word that people really don't want to hear.
Oh, yeah, they don't like that.
But it was just fun. I had fun with that whole thing. I don't know how this Halloween stuff keeps getting under people's skin because they do this every year. Like they literally did what was it? Kenny did the Sands from
Ooh, that was fire too, man.
Yeah, he did that one 2 years ago. Like this, and they did that as baby faces. But people were like up in arms about that, about like how could somebody be taken seriously dressing up in Halloween costumes? Like, it's Halloween. And like, I guess I don't see it, and sure, call me a shill, what the fuck ever. I don't see the downside here because ultimately, I truly believe that's who all of these guys are, and it's not. I don't feel like they're being anything other than their genuine selves when they do stuff like this. So like. And, like, it was over with the crowd. The crowd was way into it. The reveal of Hangman under the Stay Puft mask got a massive pop.
Awesome.
I don't see any downside
Great
to
moment.
it.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. But there's that.
And the match was fire, too, as always.
And shout out to Super Chat from MC Squishy Tushy. It said, I'm so mad at y'all. I got grad school work to do. And this combo is going to have me saying go dumb for the rest of the day. Sorry.
That's all day. Tell me when to go. Go right now.
First of all, how could you not like that main event? I'm sorry. It was just fun.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what?
Them coming out to the Ghostbuster theme, which again was fire, and then doing the entrance. And you could just tell that they're having fun. I know people are like, this is what they have Adam Cole doing. You can't tell me that Adam Cole is not having a blast. You can see it all over his face. He's having fun.
And there's a story here. There's a couple of little story elements that I think people were missing, such as there's the underlying thing of Adam Cole stealing the bucks from Kenny, which is like very clearly. I feel like it's like beating you over the head. It's so on the nose, but then you point it out to somebody like, oh, that's what's happening, because like there was a moment where. I forgot who they got in the camel clutch position, but Kenny goes to like apply something and Adam Cole like taps him on the shoulder and he's like, hey, go check on the Dark Order. And then he goes and puts him in the camel clutch and then gets the kiss on the cheeks from the Young Bucks. And Kenny kind of looks back over like, oh, I guess. And like, but like that moment of Cole like shooing Kenny off and then him and the Bucks do their thing. Like to me, I feel like there's an underlying story of like, but you got to do it slowly. Like it's one of those things that's not going to happen overnight. It's not one of those things where like Cole is going to come in and like just immediately execute the Elite. That's not going to make any sense. Like you can't have it both ways. You can't say I want long-term stories, but I also want the instant gratification of Adam Cole as the guy. Like he is already like super over. He's already, to me, he comes off like a star. And but then also he's telling his story of because I can see where some of the issue comes about. I think if you were invested in NXT, which I wasn't, but I did follow NXT, but like I wasn't invested, right? I can get if you were invested in NXT, you've already seen the story of Adam Cole breaking out as a single star, and so you feel like he's already there. You don't want to see that again. However, if your investment comes along the lines where mine is, where like I see, and I've always seen Adam Cole as like, I mean, I've watched Adam Cole go from faction to faction. He was a part of the Kingdom. This was a guy who was
Future Shock. He's done so many things.
But then like he really rose to prominence as a member of the Bullet Club, and of course the sub faction of the Bullet Club, the Elite. And that's a story that never got finished getting told. And so, like, to me, he's still a member of the Elite.
I think people people only think of Adam Cole in NXT, and they don't remember that before he got to NXT, he was doing all this stuff with the Young Bucks, and he was. This isn't new, which means that's what he wanted to do.
And more than that, Adam Cole, like, this isn't somebody who necessarily, other than the boom thing, like, this isn't really somebody who took his WWE persona, like, who had a persona developed in WWE.
Right.
Adam Cole came into NXT already with buzz.
Right.
He came in and people were like, "Oh, that's Adam Cole. This is a guy who's an indie sensation." And like, Adam Cole Bebe was already a thing. That was a thing indie crowds did. That was a thing. Like, so if you ignore his entire WWE run, if that never happened, this story is still told the same way, because this is a guy who was a part of the Elite, and these are his guys. Like, if he's gonna break out of this faction, let it happen on. Or I feel like the story has to be told without the context of the Undisputed Era. I feel like that's what you guys want, but like ultimately.
That's not
that
doesn't play
honestly,
part
it's
of the
completely
story.
irrelevant to this story.
Yeah,
like it as far as we're concerned, that never happened. Like, Adam Cole was a part of the Elite, and then he wasn't for a few years, and now he is again. Like, that's how this story is shaken out right now.
He was dead all that time.
He
was dead all that time. So, but yeah, the two things I took away. First of all, we got to give Brandon Cutler his flowers, man. He has just become one of the funniest members of the Elite.
He plays that role. He is hilarious.
No one else. The way that he sold the BTE trigger after they revealed the horse, and he just fell over like he was just exhausted. Chef kiss. He's just amazing. And to your point with the Adam Cole thing, when they came all out into the ring and they were, hamming it up with the Ghostbuster stuff, Cole still got in the middle and did Adam Cole Baby, and he still looked like the biggest star out of those four.
Right.
So I don't see how people think that he's taking a step back. He still looks like a huge star. And I mean, to your point, the Omega stuff, they're planting all the seeds when Adam Cole went to tag in and Omega ignored him doing the picture-in-picture.
Yeah.
Like, just those little subtle things.
There's little things. I mean, here's another thing. Cole's undefeated. And when Kenny loses the title, guess who's going to, like, kind of ease into being number one contender? And like, there's a little dissension you could play up there of like.
And guess who started this feud with the Adams versus Adams? Will Washington did already. He already planted the seeds for this Adam versus Adam feud.
And hey, shout out to Drew. He said apparently wrestling isn't allowed to be anything but Vince at the top, micromanaging and making the show the way he wants. How dare wrestlers get to be themselves and be happy?
And like, bro, they did a trick or street match on the other show or whatever you call it. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they
Halloween theming.
They do this every year.
Halloween theming to me Halloween theming to me is fine.
Like Halloween Havoc, bro. Come on.
Like, I don't mind this, and I don't mind it from any company, honestly. I don't mind pro wrestling being fun, and I don't even mind it being fun at the top. It's a lot of revisionist history to act like Stone Cold never did fun shit.
Bro, come on.
Revisionist history to act like The Rock wasn't.
All of it was camp.
Yeah,
all of it was camp.
The Rock wasn't comedy like 80% of the time.
Right.
Like when The Rock got serious, he got serious, but like.
He was
a lot of
more
fans
not serious.
A lot of fans like The Rock for making people laugh.
Right.
That was
right.
Man, we just talked about the Nation. One of the most memorable Nation things was The Rock giving Farouk the picture of him and giving everybody else the Rolexes.
Exactly.
And that was funny.
So like, either way, that's that topic. We got others to get to.
When The Rock's like, "Camadillo, let's go." Man, the Nation was hard. I'm gonna watch some Nation clips today.
So we gotta y'all are about to laugh when this Chiron comes up.
Oh God. I wouldn't know because he's blocked me on Twitter, so I wouldn't even know that he's the champ. That damn son of a bitch. How did Moose's like, I have to get a topic on this show, so I have to win this belt. You guys have to make me the champion. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't get it. I mean, I think you had a great story there with Alexander finally winning the title after everything, and you just didn't need to insert the Moose stuff. It just was a bad decision to me, and that's not just because I think Moose is problematic. I just don't understand the need for that swerve. I don't feel like you needed to do that.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's nothing worse to me than title changes without an actual match. Nothing.
Right.
There's very few things I hate more than that, and that's across the board. Whether it's a title exchange, whether it's a cash in, like I feel like
Just not a fan.
I'm just not a fan of changing titles without a match having taken place. And
get it.
like it's my least favorite thing. I feel like that should have just like remained Edge's thing.
Right.
Because at least then it was like unique to somebody, but otherwise
Right.
I just hate it.
You know
Hate
what?
it, hate it, hate
I'll
it.
shoot Moose some bail though. I saw a lot of people that were excited that this happened. They were stoked that the way that he did it, they were happy. Like there are a lot of people that are on Team Moose, and for that's cool. But I mean, I'm trying to just get past all the shit that Moose is in to just be like, hey, great win, but it's just like really hard. I'm gonna try it for a minute. Hey Moose, great win, man. Black World Champion. Your Impact. Yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got.
No, I mean,
That's
listen,
all I got, man. I don't know.
Moose has drastically improved as a wrestler. I will
He's a
give him
great
credit.
wresler. Oh my
He's
god.
improved a lot as a wrestler.
When the
like
bell
that,
rings,
man,
that match with Rich Swann a few months ago
Ooh,
was
that match was great.
insane.
Yeah, he had a run of great matches during that time. So I mean, man, this isn't about him being a bad wrestler. It's just kind of the other outside of wrestling things that make him look bad.
Exactly.
And then also, I just feel like everybody was behind Alexander, and it's not bad to give the heel something to give him heat, but I just didn't feel like it added anything to this pay-per-view. I just feel like it sent people home unhappy for no reason.
Right.
And man, if this is the end of the Impact and AEW partnership, it's not a good sign that the first show you really did that was a big show without Omega, a lot of people didn't like it. And that's not a good sign to me.
That's not.
Yeah, that is
That's a good point.
There is a story, of course, out that this is the end of the partnership. Now, there's a lot of like negative spin with that, but apparently this has been the plan for a long time. That it was always, I guess they said since the spring, plan to end it Bound for Glory.
Right.
And that's not to say that the door is not open to continue doing more. Because you could start to see certain things play out, like back at All Out when Brian showed up and there's that final shot of the Elite staring down with Brian and Christian and Jurassic Express. For whatever reason, the Good Brothers like disappeared. Like they were there for the moment when Brian and everybody showed up, but the stare down was between just the 4 members of the Elite and the 4 guys in the ring, and you didn't see Gallows and Anderson at all. It's like they were told like get out of the shot, make sure this is between these guys, and now like we haven't seen them in a while. Like it's almost they've been kind of heading in that direction of like easing them out. It's not as if they're like gone. They even tweeted like we're still members of the Elite. Don't get it twisted. We're still here. It's just that we're not working with them right now. So I don't know. I think that there's questions about who did this partnership benefit, and I think it's kind of clear who it did. In that, like, when people say Impact got nothing out of this partnership, I disagree. I think Impact got to close out a lot of loose ends. Like, Christian got to have closure with Impact. Like, are you kidding me? Obviously Christian, the majority of Christian's career is going to be known off of his WWF run and being tagged with Edge. But ultimately, Christian had his, like, biggest singles performances in Impact. And that was a run that kind of ended in a way where he probably didn't want it to end that way. He didn't want it to end on a negative note. because like he did have a big singles run, and then Impact itself got so wrapped up in signing all those other guys that they just kind of cast Christian off to the side. And like, you know, he got to end it as champion, and it got to put a pin in it. Frankie Kazarian,
with this, who benefited most? I want to know what does AEW have to do to get you to watch Impact Wrestling? Because that's what this all comes down to. Why is it AEW's fault that you're not still watching Impact Wrestling? It's not AEW's fault that you didn't stick around. It's your fault. You know what I mean?
Omega gave you several great title defenses on Impact pay-per-views, and to say that they got nothing from that in a time where they were struggling to build main eventers, and AEW gave you a ready-made main eventer who was one of the biggest stars in the industry. So to say that they didn't benefit from that is just insane.
Well,
that's crazy.
And the other thing too is like I look at it as Impact. The biggest benefit to me for Impact was that Impact had to come back without fans. Impact had, and that's a lot tougher than really anybody. WWE had to. WWE has the built-in ability to say that one, they're WWE, and they had the resources to build something like the Thunderdome eventually. AEW had Daly's Place, which is a really unique outdoor venue, and they were able to bring in fans months into the start of the pandemic. They started bringing in fans last August. So like they at least had that going for them. Impact really just had a studio to wrestle out of that I think looked okay, but for the most part, dead silence. And it's a harder sell. So like they needed some kind of hook, and I feel like Kenny was that hook for them for a long time. And now Impact is back to having fans. They're back to having pay-per-views at locations. Like honestly, now it's back on Impact. But you know, it was a little bit of a boost for them to be able to get to work with another promotion for a little while. And they're still, you know, the New Japan's working with everybody right now. The Forbidden Door is still open.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of great things at Impact. Just watch Impact, you guys. That's how you get them in a better position.
Now, I will say this. And back to the shout out. I just want to bring up what Tim said. He said Stone Cold made a pizza out of Booker. Yeah, that talking about comedy and stuff. As far as one of the things that I didn't like out of Bound for Glory also, and I knew it was going to happen, but the other thing I'm not a huge fan of is people coming in and winning titles. And because I feel like it undermines the division you have in place.
Yes. I agree. Hard agree.
So,
well, I will say this. I saw some people that were pretty mad about the Mickey one. I thought Mickey winning was fine because
Mickey is a different story. I was talking about the inspiration.
Like Mickey coming. Like I saw some people that were saying this makes Deanna look bad, and I was like, no, it doesn't, because they've built up that she's beaten all these other legends, and to have Mickey be the one that goes, no, you're not going to get one over me. And I was also confused because when Mickey was with WWE, she was there from 2016, right?
Yeah.
We wanted her to get another world title reign, and she got that. Why are we mad about it now? That didn't make sense to me.
So I feel like with Mickey, it's a case of like that to me feels more like a Rocky type run, right? Where like she's coming back to the place that to the house she kind of built, and like is returning to remind people, you know, I still got this, and this is a title that I held more than anybody, and of course Deanna's still gonna. Yeah,
and they've been setting this up for months. Like it's
it's been in the works since Slammiversary.
Story. Yeah.
So I'm good with Deanna. What I am annoyed by is that I'm good with Mickie James and Deanna, and I'm good with Mickie James winning the title. I actually don't mind that at all, and I think Deanna's going to be fine.
And it was a great match, by the way.
Great match, yeah,
very good match.
And
Deanna's going to get it back.
And if she doesn't, like honestly, I think the future is sky high for Deanna, and I think whether it's with Impact or whether it's anywhere else, I think the fact that she got to create a new name for herself and create a new presence for herself, there's so much more for Deanna.
She doesn't need the title at this point. Yeah. I feel like she's already legitimized how great she is over the last year or so.
That said, talking about the the Inspiration coming in and just winning the titles. I hate that. I hate the idea of somebody just entering, never having been in that division before, never having been in the promotion before, and winning a title. It's my least favorite thing. It doesn't matter where it happens. I am not a fan of somebody coming in and winning a championship because I feel like that undermines the division as it previously existed. Now, and right now, the Knockouts tag division was supposed to be showing us how it's done. And I feel like it really hasn't been the last 3 or 4 months. And so I was a little annoyed by that.
Them losing Kira and them breaking up Fire and Flavor.
And that was exactly the point.
It was a big hit for them.
Yes.
Yeah, and I will say this. The only reason
shout out Jabari, by the way.
The only reason that I was fine with it is that Impact's tag division doesn't have any established tag teams anymore. Like they are all kind of put together tag teams. Like they lost all of their good established tag teams. And so when you bring in a team that is a tag team and they know each other, back and forth, and they immediately came in and looked like big stars with the entrance and everything, which I thought the entrance was good. I thought it made perfect sense for the established team to win. I felt like if they had come in as an established team and lost to Decay, it would have been kind of like, well, that's a very WWE thing to do. And that was the only reason why it didn't bother me.
Yeah. I see. I'm trying to think of their established teams now, and I'm like,
for the women's, they don't have any.
Right.
And that's it. That's not a knock, by the way, on the Inspiration. I'm not one of those people that doesn't like the Iconics or the Iconic Duo or whatever you want to know them as. I actually do like them as performers. I think Billie Kay or Jessica, I think she's one of the funniest people in pro wrestling, male or female. I think she's just so damn funny. And but I don't like bringing people in and winning titles. We got a couple of super chats I want to read. We'll start with Shanika, who says, let us not forget how Impact also yanked their Twitch simulcast. Big mistake, IMO.
Huge mistake. Huge mistake.
I agree.
Just keep that going. There's no reason not to keep doing that.
But I think monetarily there might be. And I think ultimately they wanted, because it's not just about getting eyes on your show. It's also about getting eyes that make money on your show. TV rights obviously are way bigger than streaming rights. They just are. And I don't believe there was much rights happening at all with Twitch. So correct me if I'm wrong there. Let me know. But I'm pretty sure monetarily that was probably a loss leader to just put the show out for free to Twitch viewers.
Impact just is unfortunate because they never are on a network that people have.
Yeah, they've got to get off Access. Access is a dud to me.
But the problem is,
they got to go somewhere. Man.
Problem is, Access is owned by Anthem, right? So that's actually almost easy for them. And Matt said thoughts on the lip singing entrance for the Inspiration. It was corny, but it was fun.
It was corny, but it fit who they are, and that's why I thought it was perfect. It fit who they are as a tag team.
So I'll say this because Impact has had some. They've actually kind of lucked into some crazy great TV deals. And then on the other hand, right now, they don't really have a TV deal per se. They just happen to be on the network that owns. Or on a network that's owned by the company that owns them. So if anything, it's more of a WCW type situation where at least now they never have to worry about negotiations or anything like that. Because Spike was big for them because we tend to history kind of undermines how big of a deal Spike was because history has kind of rewritten the fact that WWE willingly went back to USA Network. That's not what happened. Spike actually canceled Raw. If you literally look up the headline, I could even pull this up. Let's see. Spike cancels Raw. It was there it is. Variety posted an article March 10th, 2005. Spike TV smacks down WWE. Spike TV has severed ties with Vince McMahon, World Wrestling Entertainment, effectively ending its run on the cabler this fall. Like, that was the thing.
Loser.
They
I
did
bet
not.
Vince is so pissed.
They did not willingly go back to USA Network. That was one of those, we came crawling back to USA Network because Spike gave him the boot. Because Spike ultimately wanted more in-house produced content at the time. Now, ultimately, history has vindicated WWE because Spike TV is no more. WWE and USA Network still going.
Vince sent USA a "you up" text. He was like, "Hey, hey, big kid,
hey, big kid."
But like, so the thing was, it was big for Impact to end up on Spike because of the fact that Spike was doing so well with the Ultimate Fighter, with all the UFC content they had, and like all of a sudden they had a wrestling void they needed to fill, and they had just given Raw the boot, and they had picked up Impact because it was easier content for them, and it was more of an in-house produced content because Spike TV was handling the production at the time, and that was a great deal for them, and that's why like production shifted so hard when they left Spike and went to, I think it was Pop was after that, right? And then Destination America, and then they ended up on where they are now on Access. I mean, it is crazy. Impact has been on. I think Impact and SmackDown like have the record for the most network changes for I think any TV show ever.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of nuts. But anyway, as far as Bound for Glory was concerned, that was Bound for Glory.
A huge mixed bag. There were good things about the show, but it just closed on a sour note for me.
Yeah. I liked the X Division. Trey Miguel's the new champion. That was dope.
That was a phenomenal match too.
Yeah, they had some shining moments for sure. But
yeah, and shout out to Trey. Trey has been trying to win that title for a long time. I think it was like his 10th attempt, and so it was cool to see him finally win it. I really like the Spider-Man gear he's doing now.
He's killing it. He's one of the most innovative wrestlers in the world. He does some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And Myron, shout out for the super chat. Thank you, Myron. Always appreciate the super chats. He said Impact needs more women to complement Deanna. And
we forgot Jordan.
And Jordan,
media champion.
Yep. Losing Kiera and Taya hurt them. I mean, there's a lot of fracturing in women's wrestling going on right now. That may actually find itself repaired by the number one story that we're going to get to in just a moment. But I want to talk about our dude Big E. He's doing it, man. He is killing it, and
it's so beautiful to see. I think someone just said, I think Booker T might be the first wrestler ever on the Breakfast Club. I'm not 100% positive about that, but it sounds pretty correct. And as the WWE champion, like, of course, you know.
And Big E, WWE champion on the Breakfast Club. There's just so much. There's just so much greatness for the culture happening there that I'm just like it was good, and he's there with the WWE Championship, and that's always good for pro wrestling. He's there. He's getting to talk about representation in pro wrestling, which is always a good thing, and he's talking about it on a platform that more people should be hearing about representation in pro wrestling, because there's even as representation has gotten better and is getting better, there's you talk to non-wrestling fans about it, they still think wrestling is for hicks, and so it is.
Every time I tell someone I write for wrestling, they're like, "You? Are you sure?"
Yeah,
they're like, they never get it.
They're like, "Oh, that stuff the rednecks like."
Yeah,
you know, and right, and so like I get it, and I feel like this is a very, very good thing, and seeing Big E getting to make appearances on college football and just all these places, I think it's the coolest thing in the world, and I feel like this is the most play I've seen the WWE Championship get in years, because the WWE Championship has really been treated as secondary to the Universal for a long time. And
You know, this is really
honestly,
funny
in the
because
context of WWE, it still is. But
they
outside,
they talk about media and like when you become the WWE champion, you have to do all these things and you have to go on Today's Show and you have to do all that. But like Roman don't be doing none of this. Roman ain't outside. Roman is not
Roman
outside.
ain't outside.
Roman is at SmackDown. He is not outside. He's not at the Today Show. He's not anywhere. Big E has been outside, bro. He was at that boxing match. He's been at college football. He's been at the Breakfast Club. He's been at the barber shop with the WWE Championship. My brother has that title
culture
outside. It's culture and it's going down. And we love Big E, man. It's amazing to see that he's like, just like I said, I tweeted a couple of days ago that I actually had an interview with Big E it'll be coming out in PWI, the magazine, and it was amazing. He just kind of talked about the same things he talked about on the Breakfast Club of representation and being super excited about Bianca being the world champion and that it's different out here for Black wrestlers and even Black wrestling fans. You know, we have representation that we haven't had. We haven't had different types of Black wrestlers that aren't stereotypical, and we haven't even had some that are stereotypical that we could just get behind and enjoy. And Big E is doing everything that we love, and he's doing all the media stops that like a rapper that's having a great album that's doing, and it's like I relate to that. I relate seeing Big E on the Breakfast Club. I relate to seeing him announcing on a boxing match. Like that makes me feel good to see as a Black wrestling fan. So it's been great for Big E, man. I love it.
Totally agree. It definitely looks like he's on the press run. He's on the press tour as champion, and I just love to see it, especially because he's coming to our outlets. It's not like he's going to their outlet to do it.
No.
And when I say our, you know what I mean. So
you
know, I just love to see it. I mean, hey, I didn't watch the whole interview yet. I did watch the clip. But man, it's just cool to see him out here thriving because he deserves it.
Yeah. No, I'm so happy for Big E because I feel like he's also the right guy to be doing it. Like, the fact that he is so versed in every single thing he's talking about. You know, I
God, so intelligent. Jeez,
I gave Woods the props last week for being such an ambassador, such a great ambassador, but Big E is too. And that Big E is a guy you can have these conversations with and come away with something good.
Right.
And I'm real happy to.
I think he sat back and studied. Like he's been in WWE on the main roster for almost 10 years, and like he's just sat back and studied everybody that's came before him and what they did, and he's figured out how he was going to do it his way, and his way is so great. Man, I love it. It's great to see.
Biggie. And Terrence said Bad News Brown should have had a run as WWE champion.
Oh my goodness, he should have beat Hogan. We all know that for sure. Man, yeah, he was set up, dude. He was set up. He was one of the baddest. Like you just knew, like, okay, like wrestling is, it's not, on the up and up. Everything real isn't happening here, but like you don't want to run into this guy in a dark alley, dude. He would he would destroy your life. Definitely don't.
So I'm real happy for Big E, and this is cool. I am curious because there was a big ladder match on Raw this week between pretty much everybody in it was drafted. Matter of fact, Raw is interesting because at a glance, especially if you don't watch SmackDown, which I feel like there's very few people who watch Raw but don't watch SmackDown, so it's probably few and far between. But let's say you don't, just because you don't have time on Fridays. Raw in the last 2 months kind of flushed its entire main event scene down. Like SmackDown at least still has elements of what it was before, in that Roman Reigns is still the top guy, so the Bloodline is all still the top act on SmackDown. But Raw, everything's gone. Everything. I mean, like, Bobby Lashley is still there, obviously, but he wasn't on TV this week. And then also, by the way, this Hurt Business reunion is so far no good. And I wanted to see it be a whole lot better.
Yeah, I
but
don't
like
know.
the fact that like
They were just trying to do an angle that one night. They were like,
I
yeah, let's
know
put the Hurt
because
Business back together, and then nothing else.
you brought in they brought in Cedric in Shelton to do their thing, and yeah, I mean, the way they came in and Goldberg kind of made short work of him, and now Keith Lee beat him. And I saw, I have to give shout out to because I'm going to steal this point from Bix, David Bixenspan, in which he said, "How could you sign Big E? Not Big E. How could you sign Keith Lee and essentially remove all the things that made him Keith Lee?" Because like everything Keith Lee about him is no longer there. Like you don't want him wrestling like Keith Lee anymore. You want him growling.
Want
you
him
want
to be Mark Henry. I'll say it once and I've said it again. The reason that Keith Lee doesn't work is because they try to make him into Mark Henry. They're trying to make him the strong guy that does strong things and bends frying plans in half. And no, he's not Mark Henry, bro. He does flips. He does Hurricane Ranas. He runs. He jumps. He does crazy stuff. They took everything away about him. Like I said, I tweeted the other day. He was limitless, which they convinced him that wasn't a gimmick, but it's totally a gimmick. A big black man that can do extraordinary things that black men aren't supposed to do. How is that not a gimmick? I'm inspired by that. I used to be a chubby kid. I'm a chubby black kid. I'm inspired by Keith Lee. How do you take that away and make him a fucking bear?
I mean, yeah. So like, I feel like this is part of why I don't mind NXT 2.0, because I feel like ultimately WWE needs a wrestler factory. Because the thing I don't want to see them do is take guys who have stuff. Well, because I don't want to see them take guys who had stuff going for them and essentially beat that out of them. Where it's like, nah, that's not what we want. Then it's like, then why did you sign me? Why did you sign me if you essentially don't want me to be me? You want me to be something else. So like,
you
honestly,
just want my body type.
Like, get a wrestler factory where you can make these wrestlers, but like, and that's what NXT 2.0 ultimately needs to be. You need to be creating wrestlers, because signing guys to turn them into something else, that sucks. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that anymore. And
it's like, just wasting everybody's time.
Yeah, and I'm watching it happen with Keith Lee. And like, why? Why'd you sign Keith Lee?
What is the gimmick? Explain to me right now what the gimmick is besides growling. Oh, he's a bear now? What is this? What's a bear cat? Somebody explain it to me. Tweet it.
Man, I feel like you stepped on such a great point though, Reg, in that they took a black guy whose gimmick was that I'm limitless. I can do anything. And they essentially told black fans, no, he can't do anything.
right.
And that is really kind of
like crazy.
It's sad when you think about it. It's like,
it is.
Why though?
They were no, actually not. No. You can't.
I mean, look, I think Big E is gonna. I mean, not Big E. I think Keith Lee is gonna run with this, and I think he's going to try and do the best he can with this gimmick. And I have faith that he will do good things. But I just feel like if you're not in there and you don't have a voice in the room where you can fight for your character and fight for what you want to do, they're just gonna jerk you around.
They are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just happy to be here. If he's happy to be here, we can make him do whatever the fuck we want. And it's like, I'm happy for you to get the paycheck, but read that little. There's I saw a tweet on John Moxley's book. There's like a little page talking about his last months in WWE and wanting to he couldn't take it. Just read that, because that's what a lot of wrestlers are doing. That's what this is, man.
So a couple of other things. So we've been asked in the chat before we get to number one, because as we talked about Dynamite, we didn't really talk about Cody. And the fact, because there's a lot that happens.
They want me to compliment Cody Rhodes, don't they? Oh, you guys.
Because since last week, a lot has happened. Cody did beat Malachi Black, and then he cut a promo on Wednesday. And
hey, that promo was fire, man. I'm sorry.
I like the promo.
The promo was really good.
I actually really like the promo, and I liked him addressing everything. And like, I knew he wasn't stupid with the Tiger Driver stuff. Like, you knew what he was doing when he hooked the arms, and he knew the story he was trying to tell with that. It is interesting in that I can't say that Cody should have lost that match. What I will say is that if you didn't want him to win, the match shouldn't have taken place. Because here's the thing: if you are Tony Khan and you're paying like every time Cody's in a situation, people are like, he needs to lose, he needs to lose, he needs to lose. Let's take the EVP out of the equation. If you are simply Tony Khan and you are paying Cody Rhodes as much as you're paying Cody Rhodes, you aren't paying for somebody to lose as much as people want him to. And the thing is, his win-loss record's actually not that great. Of all the stars he actually has, I think he's tied with Moxley for the most losses this year, as far as like the top talent in AEW. But I don't know. I thought the match itself was a little bit overdone. I honestly just wouldn't have done a third one. Like, if you wanted Malachi to walk away the winner of that feud, I would have just left it at 2. Because I don't feel like Cody should have lost the third.
Right. I think they both told a good story. Malachi with that Instagram post about like, I did what I needed to do regardless of that loss and stuff. And so I think they actually stumbled into a great story here with Cody. They've been telling he hasn't. It's essentially like, this is Captain America. He can't lose. And then like when you expect him to lose, he doesn't lose. And so like eventually the hero becomes the villain. He has to. And on a show, he tells the story that he doesn't want to be healed. So he just doesn't want to. He doesn't like being booed. He doesn't like this. But if you're forced to, it's going to be even better. They stumbled into a great story.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. I don't know. I will say that what I did like about the promo, and I tweeted this, and a lot of people picked up on it. That was one of my like better tweet numbers of the week. But I tweeted about Andrade and how Andrade made his way out, and I thought his promo was a lot better than I would have expected. I think they've spent so much time trying to find a mouthpiece for Andrade, but like honestly, just have him do that every week.
Short and sweet, man.
Short and sweet. Say what you need to say. And
that CM Punk and Eddie Kingston thing, give him 1 minute and execute. That's it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You don't need a lot. You don't need a lot.
That felt genuine, and I felt like the way that just took off, that was good. Shout out David, by the way. Thank you
appreciate you,
David.
Always appreciate it.
But
we got one big story to talk about. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
On the Cody thing, I think some people want the promo to be bad because he's done other bad promos. So people are now waiting for him to do another bad promo to go, he's terrible at promos. Right. It's not that he's ever been bad at promos. No. He just did this very bad tone-deaf promo.
Yeah. No, that one promo wasn't bad because Cody's a bad talker, because Cody's one of the best in the business as far as talking is concerned. He's like one of the guys you would trust to do like the John Cena type brand ambassador kind of promo. Cody is that guy. That promo was just tone deaf. That promo made it sound, that was and you know what? The reason that promo was tone deaf was wrong time, because like that was a John Cena promo from 2008, right? Like definitely. You come out and talk about, I'm proud to be an American and Americans come together and blah 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 blah. But this ain't. But you look at the current climate and
that ain't it
ain't the time.
Yeah, it ain't the time. It was, the promo was tone deaf. That's what made it bad. Tone deaf. And like, because I've seen non-American fans like see that promo and go, oh, that was good. Like the day it aired, I saw a lot of like a lot of the UK people that we kind of deal with who were like, yeah, that was a fine promo. Missing because I feel like the context here in America is part of why I watched that promo and went, ooh, no. No.
That was a bad one.
That was bad.
It was just certain things he said there that I think were great. Like, I mean, don't forget who opened the bank line was fired.
That was fired.
Saying that I have a wife that's way too bad for me. He just said a lot of great things in that promo.
I loved it. What if I would have hit the pedigree? I love. Oh my god!
He had a lot of great punchlines in it, and I agree that Andrade came out at just the right time. He mocked him in just the right way.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good segment for what it was. I thought it set up good things, and I'm glad they brought the Malachi promo to TV. They didn't just have it on IG because
Mhm.
it's an important story element, so it needed
It
to be on
is.
TV.
Yeah.
Right.
And finally, biggest story of the week.
Woo.
Ring of Honor.
Woo, woo,
What
woo,
happened?
Woo, woo, woo.
Ring of
ROH.
Honor. So as the story goes, Ring of Honor put out a statement on I want to say it was Wednesday, and no one was sure what it meant, and I want to pull that up specifically.
It sent shockwaves. We were all just like, what?
Yeah, so the original statement was just kind of talking about Ring of Honor doing some restructuring. And it said, and I'll read it. It said, throughout the pandemic, our top priority was to keep everyone healthy and safe. And despite not producing any live events over 18 months, we were able to keep everyone fully contracted. We now find ourselves at a time where we need to make changes to our business operations and are planning a pivot for Ring of Honor with a new mission and strategy. This year will culminate with Final Battle in December, and we will be taking the first quarter of 2022 to work internally to reimagine ROH. ROH has the most dedicated fans in the industry, and we appreciate their loyalty and patience as we reconceptualize ROH. We anticipate returning to live events in April for the Supercard of Honor with a new fan-focused product and provide a new, unique experience for wrestling fans. So again,
What does that mean?
so people weren't quite sure what that meant until Dave Meltzer tweeted, ROH has released everyone.
Yes.
And then it was like, oh, shit. Now this makes sense. And what happened? And so like now it's become clear what Ring of Honor meant by that. And yeah, Ring of Honor is effectively as we know it no more. Now that doesn't mean that, of course, it sounds to me like if Ring of Honor does actually come back, because a lot of people have been pointing to the old WCW statement from March of 2001 where they were like, we're going to take a few months to reimagine things and you'll see a new WCW, and then you didn't.
No.
So
I saw a lot of people tweeting that they're going to come back, but look, people don't forget, man. Fans and wrestlers. If people are dependent on you and you tell them we're done, they're going to think you're done forever. And before that, people have already been like, they've put Ring of Honor in that Ring of Honor still exists space, or like Ring of Honor still happening. So if you tell them, hey, we essentially we dropped all of our wrestlers and nothing's happening, people are going to give up. It's going to be really hard to get those people back, is the thing that I'm saying.
Well, so there's just a lot. There's a lot of questions, and as far as what the future holds, there's a lot of
oh my god, the story, dude.
Yeah, so there's obviously to me it sounds like what Ring of Honor is going to become ultimately is like a true indie again, in which like nobody's under contract. We run shows with guys you like, and we'll bring them in
just like all the other independents.
Yeah, it's gonna operate more like an independent where nobody's like officially under contract, which is I guess fine.
It's not a bad thing, no.
Yeah. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it does sound like they're gonna go back to not trying to compete as a third big promotion, and that might not be a bad thing for at least right now.
Right.
So of course, I feel bad for so many people involved here.
Damn, man.
Those that have known me a long time know that I've considered Maria Kanellis a good friend, and I was really happy seeing the work she's been putting in Ring of Honor to really make something happen with their women's division.
Women's division has been on fire.
These last
couple months.
Feel really bad for Roxy.
Yeah.
And I feel like, reason I don't feel bad for Roxy is because she's so young.
She's new.
I just said that because her title reign just started.
It
like,
just
didn't even get a chance to get off the ground.
Right.
Yes, that's true. I mean, so I feel bad. I feel bad. I didn't mean to say that because I feel bad for anybody who essentially, as I tweeted, uncertainty sucks. To not know what the future is, that is one of the worst feelings you could ever have. So just thinking about what they were doing with their women's division and the people they were bringing in, I feel like anybody, whether it be a Vince McMahon or a Tony Khan, would be missing out if they didn't pick up Maria Kanellis just as somebody who could have vision for, because that is the one thing I do feel that pro wrestling as a whole needs. I think that telling black stories, for example, I think needs black people telling them. I think that telling women's stories needs women in the creative position to help tell them better. And I feel like that was something that Maria was helping offer Ring of Honor. So I do feel like anybody would be, it would be a mistake to pass her up as far as just having a good vision for a women's division. But yeah, they had literally, I feel like Trisha's run was just getting started there. And I think she's going to be, there's a lot of people that I feel people need to keep their eyes on all of a sudden now. She's one of them. And shout out to David, who says, all three of your personalities are distinct and offer great insight with wonderful chemistry. Someone please sign AJ Gray and Darius Carter, and AEW can now rectify the mistake of not signing Trish Adora. Again, she's one that anybody should be taking a look at right now.
Trish will be, actually, we're just talking about Impact. I think she'd actually do pretty great in Impact, actually, too.
I think she would be incredible with Impact. I think she's going to do great anywhere she goes. But
yeah,
I think somewhere like Impact, where she can become like the main star of that brand, would be amazing.
Right.
And then also, a lot of people have been talking about STP, and that goes back to the beginning of this conversation, where we got a super chat, and I want to go back to it now. Because I want to make sure that we don't lose sight of that. And, of course, I can't scroll back that far.
I wrote down three names. Somebody said, what do we think is going to happen with Gresham, Medora, and Lethal?
Yes.
I think Gresham is AEW bound, 1,000,000%. There's no way he can't be. I actually think Lethal's going to go to WWE, if I had to put money on it, because I think for a long time he has been a wrestler that has I think Ring of Honor has been great for him, but also I think it's kind of stopped a lot of things he could have done. I think like he felt like a lifer for Ring of Honor, but I feel like he probably would have been in WWE if it wasn't for Ring of Honor. So I just think that he's honestly end up there.
I would be shocked to see Lethal end up a lot of places, just because, there's a little bit of a reputation around Jay Lethal.
I kind of blocked that out of my brain. I didn't think about that.
And so the thing about Jay Lethal is, I feel like if it was going to happen for him, it would have happened already.
It would have happened. I forget about this reputation, man.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I mean, to be honest, he could still end up somewhere big like WWE. I feel like he's been pigeonholed so long as the ROH guy.
Yep.
Now, I feel like this is a chance for him to go somewhere and really show people that he's more than that. But the crazy part is I feel the opposite for Gresham, because I know that being at Ring of Honor was his dream. It was a big part of why he stayed there, because he wanted to be.
He wanted to bring Ring of Honor back to where they were.
Yeah, he wanted to reestablish it, and he believed in that company so much. So I was really sad that he didn't get a chance to win the world title and lead the company into its new era. And he might still get a chance to do that when it comes back as its new thing, but it's just sad that it's going the way it is. And I mean, I still think he's going to thrive no matter where he goes, because he's still one of the best in the industry. But it's just sad that he didn't get to do what he set out to do, man.
Yeah.
Right. And they still have a show coming up too. They're still going to do Final Battle in December, so we don't know anything that's going to happen there. So
and I mean, there's so many angles in this where it's sad, because they were one of the few companies during the pandemic that made sure to continue to pay their wrestlers.
Yep.
They didn't release anybody.
They kept them safe with the ROH bubble. Like they were one of the best companies out there.
And honestly, like this didn't come down from Ring of Honor. This came down from Sinclair Broadcasting.
Right.
And so there is, because I saw some people knocking Ring of Honor for releasing people.
Yeah,
and this
It's not
was
a,
above them. This was like Joe Koff has done. He's been really candid about everything. Did a great interview with PW Insider. It's honestly, this is just a really unfortunate situation. D'Lo, by the way, D'Lo Diggs in the chat says, "Is it just me, or with Danielson winning matches in different ways is a nod to a match with Gresham because that's what John did in ROH's Pure
Book
Champ."
the match.
we all want
Khan.
it. I mean,
Tony Khan, book the match.
Terrence
We want
says,
it.
"I hate what has happened to ROH, but if I am TK, I'm negotiating for Adora, Lethal, Gresham, etc., along with the library. Origin story.
Yeah, you need
equals
that
priceless."
library too.
Honestly,
Tony Khan.
that library, because I've seen people say that they want WWE to take it because of the network.
No.
So here's the thing. I think had the network still existed, that
Yes.
might be a possibility.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
if
Not
you
on
notice,
Peacock.
Peacock kind of bought the WWE network as it was. I don't know that Peacock is necessarily interested in old wrestling from other promotions that's not WWE. They want new WWE content. And that's really what they're after. That $1 billion was not necessarily for adding Ring of Honor to Peacock. I do think that there is a lot of value for, there's talks that AEW could be launching or launching on a streaming service. But I think the value for Tony is in the fact that he has CM Punk. He has CM Punk talking about his Ring of Honor run, and you want access to that. You have Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, which you can show people is not a new thing. This is a guy who's been the American Dragon for a real long time. You have the Young Bucks. You have, the thing is, you're telling all this, the stuff with the Elite, but you don't necessarily have access to the Elite's content prior to AEW. Nah, you would.
I mean, if anything, just buy your first pay-per-view that you guys did.
Well, yeah, and then the thing is, so the crazy thing about All In is that is such a weird piece of ownership, right? Because All In, the footage is owned by Ring of Honor, but the name All In belongs to the Young Bucks. That name was actually the trademark was registered to Killing the Business Inc. in 2018, and then I think in late 2020 they transferred the rights to Tony of the name All In, but the content of All In still belongs to Ring of Honor. So that's the stuff that they would like to have as well. And yeah, so because I see somebody in the chat just said All In is owned by ROH. Like I said, the footage of All In owned by ROH. The name was actually trademarked by the Bucks. So that's
yeah, man.
Ring of Honor, man. Look, I just want to pay tribute. Ring of Honor has been they were coming up on 20 years in 2022. They started in 2002. I remember ordering 3 Ring of Honor tapes from a tape trader, the first 3 shows, and I was immediately blown away. I was obsessed with the Amazing Red. Anything that the Amazing Red was on, I had to see this. And so since then, Ring of Honor has been that independent promotion where you go to see the toughest wrestlers. My favorite independent wrestling match of all time took place in Ring of Honor, Samoa Joe versus Kenta Kobashi, the most insane match you've ever seen in your whole life. And they have so many classics like that. The Dragon Gate 6-man. They've done so many things. I'm sad to see what has happened here. I hope that something can happen. And even more than that, all these incredible wrestlers. Kenny King has been in ROH for who knows how long. What's going to happen with Kenny King? You know what I mean? There's so many wrestlers like this that are just you thought they were going to be with ROH for life because they've done so many things for them. And here's a whole new world. Silas Young was I took my first independent booking in 6 years. These are people that were ROH is forever. And to see that everything is now up in the air, it's a lot. It's sad. Yeah. I hope that, it works out. A lot of these people are going to have places to go. So that's a good thing. But what about the rest of them?
And just a couple more super chats. Easy Attack said, I think AEW needs black vets that can easily be put in main event scene, like Kenny King or Lethal.
Kenny King.
the knock on the blacks they have. God, I hate wording it that way.
That sounds wild.
I know, right?
Not the blacks.
Not the black.
They have right now outside of Sky is that they
Not the
aren't ready.
blacks.
Terrence says, and to add, along with the library rights, AEW has a potential streaming partner with PWG and Mission Pro to provide more content.
Super Dragon is not giving up those PWG streaming rights.
No, he is not.
Takes a year to get a DVD, bro.
No, but to add to what Reg was saying, like the other really sad part about this is I think some new wrestling fans don't understand just how important Ring of Honor is to modern wrestling.
Yeah,
like I mean, just AEW alone, AEW doesn't exist in the way that it does without Ring of Honor. Not just because the infrastructure that they lent them to do All In, but just everything that the Bucks and Omega managed to do with Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
the way that Cody reinvented himself as Ring of Honor as world champion.
Adam Cole was Ring of Honor world champ too. Like,
yeah,
so many, you know.
I mean,
honestly, and I think that just as a whole, I think wrestling was shaped by Ring of Honor because, like,
absolutely.
You go on the other side, you look at Seth Rollins, right? Like, you look at Kevin Owens, you look at the Ring of Honor is such a crazy roller coaster ride of so many things that happened because, you know, CM Punk era Ring of Honor came along, and then, you know, Ring of Honor got a TV deal with HDNet, which is now known as Access. And the HDNet deal,
Slot the Porpoise. Shout out, rest in peace to Mike Hodgwood, I think his name was. HDNet ROH.
and I forgot he passed. And then
People forget that, like, the Undisputed Era is essentially an ROH faction.
Yes.
That's pretty much what they built that off of.
I mean, if you look at NXT, Ring of Honor birthed NXT.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. That's where I was going with that, was that really it leads to NXT's existence, really. Because, NXT was basically the highly produced Ring of Honor. It was highly produced Ring of Honor. And
it was the covers version of Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Terrence says NXT version 1.0 doesn't exist without Ring of Honor. And that's true. You know, and Ring of Honor, they have their ups and downs, right? Because, you know, there's Jim Cornette era Ring of Honor, which has had its issues because you know, there's, if you talk to anybody who was around in that period, there's a reason why it's talked about the way it is, because Jim Cornette had had guys he didn't like and refused to push and refused to use. And, you know, he had his beef with guys like Kevin Owens and the Young Bucks and all of that. And then as soon as he left Ring of Honor, those guys all made money for Ring of Honor. So that's honestly, when you hear the beef with those guys, and Jim Cornette will say it's because of this, and they'll say it's because of one thing. It comes down to the fact that Jim Cornette didn't like him, wasn't going to use him. As soon as he left, they made money with Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor did better with them than it did under him. So
yeah, I mean,
that's what it all comes down to.
We can just say it that Cornette was wrong, because I mean, when you really look at some of the guys that succeeded after him. Like Kevin Owens is a prime example of that. Kevin Owens is a massive star, man.
Yeah, he became world champ. Like, come on,
and
Cornette.
but those were the guys that he didn't want to use, and the Elite's run with Ring of Honor, the Bullet Club, all of that stuff. Some can say that them leaving did more damage, but the fact is, they don't sell out Madison Square Garden without them.
Right.
I mean, Ring of Honor opened the door for companies to partner with New Japan. I don't think the partnership that Impact has with New Japan right now would be reestablished if Ring of Honor didn't do so well with it.
Right. Yeah, because New Japan was sour on Impact for sure.
Yes, they were.
So we have, as we've come to it, run out of time. However, I am putting this out there. This is not something I've talked to Phil and Reg about at all, but it's just an idea I literally just had. Because we put out the Ask Grapsody topic last night, and I was hoping we were going to have more time to get to that, and all of a sudden we haven't. So I kind of want to dedicate next week's show to kind of answering some topics and answering some questions that people have had for us. So next week, what do you guys think? The hashtag Ask Grapsody?
Next week
can
is
we answer some
Ask
stuff?
Grapsody.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I like
that
it.
sounds perfect.
I feel like we owe our fans because we put that tweet out there, and
Yeah.
you guys got us to 1,000 in minutes.
Oh my
and
God,
that was
thank you
amazing.
guys.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
you know,
So I
absolutely.
want to get to all of that, and I want to answer all of that stuff. There's a lot I want to talk about next week, but unfortunately, I have to be on the road in less than 60 seconds. So, literally, I got a wet washcloth right here. I'm about to wipe off my face and jump.
White man
As
now.
a matter of fact, I'm gonna just start
White
right now,
man now.
because
BOOSIE.
Yo, it's Grapsody, right?
There's Grapsody, ladies and gentlemen. Righteous Reg, Philip, Lindsey.
You know
thank you
what's
for
up.
thank you for being with us, and we will be back same time at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Right here, youtube.com/Fightful. I am Will Washington. He is Philip Lindsey. He's Righteous Reg. We will see you next time. Yep. We'll have a great day. Peace.